You arrive. We all arrive. So come on in. Let's begin. This place awaits. The love you bring. So welcome home. And let us sing. Welcome.
Good morning. I am Isatu Kamara Bush, a member of our Board of Trustees, and I welcome you to this Sunday service at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Columbia. I am a brown-skinned woman with black hair wearing a maroon turtleneck. We are a congregation of many beliefs, striving together to embody courageous love, radical welcome, and deep connection, and we are so glad you are here, whether in the sanctuary or on our live stream. Welcome. We'd like to particularly welcome any visitors among us this morning and invite you to find our Visitor Connect book in the greeting area, the Zoom chat, or the QR code in your order of service. We'd love to stay in touch with you. Children and babies are always welcome in worship, and we have nursery care in the lower level for our youngest ones, as well as a lively children's program for all ages. Children will be invited to their classes after a moment of centering and song. This morning, we are delighted to have music provided by our own Sam Buffalo and his son, Jim. Now let us settle into this time and place with the help of our musicians.
Good morning, my name is Sam Buffalo. I'm wearing a button-up orange short sleeve shirt, and I'm holding a baritone ukulele. And my son, Jim, is wearing a long sleeve plaid shirt behind me and sitting at the drum set. And I'm gonna play, the first song is a song that I played for the New Year's Eve service, but in the spirit of efficiency, I thought I would play it again, but I did retool some of the lyrics. The other two songs are new. Lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Oh, the streams, they flow into rivers, and the rivers into seas. Even the shallowest puddle makes it to the ocean eventually. Letting go the weights we have carried that have lingered in our souls. Through every new year that passes, through every dawn that does unfold. Now lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Oh, a stone falls into a river, and the river, it makes it smooth. What was once rough and jagged, over time becomes anew. And the sun sinks low on the horizon, but it rises again with the day. The darkness that settles in each dusk, it disappears as night gives away. I said lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Lay it down, you gotta lay it down right here. Oh, a fallen leaf upon the water, softly carried by the stream. embracing the gentle surrender of drifting where the river dreams. Watch the dew glisten in the morning, knowing that it will not last. Trusting the burdens to lessen, feeling the moments as they last. Now say, lay it down. We gotta lay it down right here. Lay it down. You gotta lay it down right here.
Thank you so much, Sam and Jim. Good morning. I'm the Reverend Dr. Molly Housh Gordon, the minister of this congregation. I'm delighted to see you all here with us this morning. I'm delighted that we're getting out more chairs to make sure there's a place for everyone to sit. And I am a white woman with long hair, or red hair that's very long on one side, very short on the other. Today I'm wearing a black pantsuit with a floral blouse underneath. We do visual descriptions as a way to include our blind, and low vision members. And this morning I have an extra visual description to offer because we have new art up on our chancel for the spring season, courtesy of our amazing artist Lily Johnstone. And so this is a display of tiny butterflies draped along the top with butterfly wings in larger sizes coming down below. They're all in blue and purple tones. And the beehive art that we had up previously has moved to the back of the sanctuary and is now along the windows with some of your butterfly and bee art that you made during our stewardship campaign. So that is our art for the spring season here at UU. Our opening words this morning are by Rob Bresney, written just in the last 2 weeks. A blessing on the meals you cook as democracy collapses. A blessing on your healing hands that mend what empire breaks. A blessing on your quiet mornings when you choose to rise again. A blessing on the stories you preserve when others would erase them. A blessing on your vigilant heart beating strong through the storm of cruelty. A blessing on the seeds you scatter in neglected places. A blessing on your fierce protection of all things small and wild. A blessing on the wisdom you gather from elders and from the earth. A blessing on your careful documentation of what must not be lost. A blessing on your mutual aid networks flowering in oligarchy's rotting shadow. A blessing on your kitchen table strategies where sly revolution simmers. A blessing on the wild songs you sing when courage starts to falter. Blessed on your strategic joy deployed against despair. A blessing on the future being born in what you do. A blessing on the bridges you build between wounded communities. A blessing on your sacred rage that fuels the work of redemptive justice. A blessing on the hope you sustain when vulgar bullies assault hope. A blessing on your children's children who will know what you defended. A blessing on the healing you dare to imagine now. So come, let us gather together in blessing. And we will begin by singing The hymn number in your order of service is incorrect. We are singing hymn number 170. Some of you might have been flipping around, those of you who look ahead. This is number 170. We are a gentle, angry people, or singing for our lives. As you turn to it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about this song. This was written by lesbian singer-songwriter and activist Holly Near. And she now introduces her song in this way. You know, our hymns go into a hymnal and then they stay there that way, but songs continue to evolve. And this one has continued to evolve. And Holly Near says about this song now, I wrote this song when Harvey Milk and George Moscone were assassinated. We originally sang We Are Gay and Lesbian together, but then we were surrounded by the support of allies, and so I changed it to We Are Gay and Straight Together, which is how it is in our hymnal. But she introduces it now by saying, now we are learning more and more about gender and sexuality, and now it requires many more syllables than I can fit into the song. And so for that verse, I now use the phrase, we are all in this together. And so if you feel moved by Holly's evolution of the song, you may sing it that way. And if you feel moved to sing it the way it is in the hymnal, we will create a holy ruckus together. So I invite you to rise or remain seated as you are most comfortable and join in singing hymn number 170. We are a gentle, angry people, singing for our lives.
Good morning. My name is Todd Iveson, and I'm the worship associate this morning. I am an older, short, white gentleman, well, maybe, with very short hair that's very gray, and I am wearing a purple sweater today. We now light our chalice symbol of our faith in the sustaining cup of our community and the bright flame of the human spirit. Please join me in our unison affirmation printed in your order of service. Love is the spirit of this church.
Good morning. I'm Jamila Batchelder, the Director of Religious Education here. I am a 47-year-old white woman with lots of dark blonde hair and glasses, wearing a sage green blazer and a black button-down blouse. And have come to the end of my patience with flu season. I've just had another cancellation this morning. I think I have all of everything straightened out and rearranging everything, I think. Thank you for people who stepped up at the very last minute. But I just want to double check. How many, raise your hand if you were in 3rd or 4th grade. Great, I think we can manage 5 with the team we have. You have fun. You're gonna do some inventing with Jack. Okay, so now I can take a deep breath and be centered. Whew. So Reverend Molly and I meet once a week to check in and do our planning. And if we worked in a corporate setting, these meetings would probably be about 10 minutes tops. We'd be in an office with an agenda and bullet points, and someone would probably ask, could this have been an email? But instead, because we are a spiritual place, we go for an hour-long walk on the MKT trail with no particular agenda, just a rambling discussion. We talk about our families and our emotional state. We talk about last Sunday, and I tell amusing things that the kids did, and she tells me about the joys and sorrows that you all shared. We share ideas that we have, and then we let them just sit, where they gradually grow and take shape in our imagination. We share stories of congregation life that intertwine and reveal new understandings. And we do all of this while pointing out the new blooming wildflowers or the sound of the peepers, so that no matter how stressed out we might have been when we first started this meeting, we end feeling spiritually renewed and full of love for this congregation every time. So for this time together, for our centering, I want us to let go of being efficient with our time. Let's slow down. Let your breathing slow. Let your inner tempo slow. Slow as sap rising in trees. Slow as water gliding by in a quiet stream. Slow as mycelia spreading underground, waiting for just the right moment for mushrooms to appear. Slow enough to notice the birds returning one by one, the velvet of new moss, the shoot tips just breaking through the soil. Slow enough to feel everything you are feeling right now. And to open our hearts enough to feel what others are feeling too, even when their experiences are different from ours. Slow enough to be present. present at this moment, to the beloved people sharing it with you. Let's take our time. And let us cherish this time together. Amen.
Now, during a moment of quiet music, I invite you into our weekly ritual of stones and water. Those of you with us online are invited into a time of contemplation during the quiet music, and you may wish to share your joy or sorrow in the chat to be spoken aloud during our time of prayer. For those here in the sanctuary, you are welcome to come forward and take a stone, representing any of the hopes and fears that you bring with you this morning, and drop the stone in the water, which represents the embrace of our community. Those of you in person who wish to have your joy or sorrow spoken aloud may write it on a slip of paper at the back table to be shared during our time of prayer. Let us now share our moment of music, water, and stones.
And we know that even as we have spoken many joys and sorrows and prayers aloud, there are still many more that are tenderly held in each of your hearts. And so we hold them with you. May you feel yourself witnessed. May you know yourself beloved. And may we conclude this time of prayer in song with number 95 in our gray hymnal, "There is More Love Somewhere." We'll keep on till we find it. A song from the African American spiritual tradition. I invite you to rise or remain seated as you're most comfortable as we sing in the spirit of prayer or contemplation.
Our reading this morning is from the Seven of Pentacles by Marge Piercy. Under a sky the color of pea soup, she is looking at her work, growing away there actively, thickly, like grapevines or pole beans, as things grow in the real world, slowly enough. If you tend them properly, if you mulch, if you water, and if you provide birds that eat insects a home and winter food, if the sun shines and you pick off caterpillars, if the praying mantis comes and the ladybugs and the bees, then the plants flourish, but at their own internal clock. Connections are made slowly. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot tell always by looking what is happening. More than half the trees spread out in the soil under your feet. Penetrate quietly as the earthworm that blows no trumpet. Fight persistently as the creeper that brings down the tree. Spread like the squash plant that overruns the garden. Gnaw in the dark and use the sun to make sugar. Weave real connections, create real nodes, build real houses. Live a life you can endure. Make love that is loving. Keep tangling and interweaving and taking more in, a thicket and bramble wilderness to the outside, but to us, interconnected with rabbit runs and burrows and lairs. Live as if you liked yourself, and it may happen. Reach out. Keep reaching out. Keep bringing in. This is how we are going to live for a long time. Not always. For every gardener knows that after the digging, after the planting, after the long season of tending and growth, the harvest comes. Here ends the reading.
I'm going to tune while we welcome Jim back up. And I wrote this song inspired by the theme of Molly's service that I got in the newsletter. So, and luckily she didn't change it, because every once in a while that'll happen. We could build a world in a hurry, patch it up and paint over the cracks, stack it high, pretend it's sturdy, till we watch it all collapse. Love takes time. Love takes time. What if kindness looks like patience? What if justice gave us rest? What if healing one another let us linger and refresh? Love takes time. Love takes time. Not the fastest, not the cheapest, not the easiest way through, but the heart of what we're dreaming needs the care that love can do. Not the shortest, not the smoothest, not the path that takes the least, but the world we long to live in, grown with love that's sown in peace. Love takes time. Love takes time. We could streamline our compassion, draw the line and shut some out, claiming kindness has its ration, has a narrow fixed amount. Cut the cost and call it progress. Turn away and say we tried. Love is not the fastest answer. It's measured in the care applied. Love takes time. Love takes time. Love takes time. Love takes time.
Well, that's it. That's the sermon. That's the TLDR version. Thank you so much, Sam. Just perfection. There's a story Kurt Vonnegut used to tell, that he was headed out the door one afternoon when his wife stopped him to ask where he was going, and he told her he was headed out to buy an envelope. As he tells it, quote, she says, "Oh, well, you're not a poor man. You know, why don't you go online and buy 100 envelopes and put them in the closet?" And so I pretend not to hear her and go out to get an envelope because I am going to have a hell of a good time in the process of buying one envelope. I meet a lot of people and see some great-looking babies, and a fire engine goes by, and I give them the thumbs up, and I ask a woman what kind of dog that is. And of course, the computers will do us out of that. And what the computer people don't realize, or they don't care, is we're dancing animals. You know, we love to move around. End quote. Y'all, we are dancing animals, and hard times require furious dancing, as the womanist poet Alice Walker has said. 2 weeks ago, millions of federal workers received an email from Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency, demanding that these federal employees justify their positions by listing 5 things they accomplished at work that week. Perhaps someone here in the congregation received such an email. While government officials cried foul at the managerial overreach and workers chafed at the tacitly threatening micromanagement, the internet went to work, doing what the internet does best. At this point, trolling Elon Musk. Emails poured into Doge from private citizens listing song lyrics, detailing what they ate for breakfast and their subsequent bathroom visits, reporting meetings with their cats, and certainly speaking many well-deserved choice words that I will not repeat from the pulpit. Meanwhile, Doge has quietly installed these 5 things emails as a continual weekly requirement. I wondered, although I did not draft my own, what I would include in such an email. As I pondered, my anti-fascist delight deepened in recognizing that my job is very, very inefficient. We are a dancing people here at UU. When I think about nurturing this community, I think I would list long, meandering conversations amid my greatest accomplishments, and perhaps those occasional committee meetings where the agenda gets ignored and the sharing gets very deep instead. Or there's the act of preparing worship and writing sermons, which I will tell you involves a truly shocking amount of time staring at the wall. And I get to support our staff over rowdy lunches and long walks in the woods, as you heard from Jamila. And last week, I gathered a bunch of local interfaith clergy together for the first time in years And we wasted so much time just getting to know each other so that we can build the kind of relationships that will allow us to link arms unyielding in defense of our people. Connections are made slowly, writes Marge Percy. Sometimes they grow underground. You cannot always tell by looking what is happening. And then there is the absolute most inefficient and obviously most important work I ever get to do, which is being your pastor. Sitting with you while you grieve and while you rejoice, doing absolutely nothing but witness your strength and the love of our community holding you. A colleague of mine wrote recently that they are the government's most inefficient employee because they are a VA chaplain, and they spend most of their time at the bedside of dying veterans. Could you think of anything less productive, anything more essential to our shared humanity than to hold the hand of the dying, to sing them home, to hold the hand of the living too, and to sing each other whole? Because none of this is just the work of the minister. It is the deep work of community. It is our work here, the call of this community, to share a rich presence with one another in growing networks of care that can hardly be described. The impact of this slow, meandering work is, of course, immeasurable, both in the sense that it is large and wide, I pray, and in the sense that it absolutely cannot be measured. Work so profound cannot be measured. The way you love cannot be measured. The gifts of our earth are that way too, extravagant, reckless, and wild. They are immeasurable. We see that in this season, don't we? And what to the cycle of seasons is efficiency anyhow? What use is efficiency to the lover or the child? We are dancing animals. We are dancing animals in a culture that has long worshipped efficiency. If the American empire is in its death throes, as I suspect it may be, it seems rather appropriate that one of the primary agents of its destruction has been given the nearly satirical name Department of Government Efficiency. Nearly satirical because, of course, none of this is actually about efficiency for Elon and his cronies, so much as lining their own pockets with our tax dollars while dismantling the social services those dollars were intended to fund. These men are not competent, which is another word for efficient. These men are careless and reckless and heartless. None of it is about efficiency, it's about extraction. Which brings me to the heart of the matter. Efficiency is a concept of empire from the start. It is the intention of empire to extract and control, to maximize control of the land and its resources, control of people and our connection and our energy, control of time itself. Efficiency is based in a scarcity mentality that no amount of resource will ever be enough, and we must therefore extract as much as we possibly can and hoard it up. It's based in a broken relationship to our time that speeds us toward a future where much is promised at the cost of the presence where everything is already here, glowing around us in abundance. In her essay, The Honorable Harvest, in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, botanist and indigenous author Robin Wall Kimmerer writes that early colonists to this land were stunned by its abundance, but puzzled by the behavior of its indigenous peoples. She writes, one such colonist wrote that the native people stopped gathering long before all the rice was harvested. Observing that the rice harvest starts with a ceremony of thanksgiving and prayers for good weather for the next 4 days, They will harvest from dawn till dusk for the prescribed 4 days and then stop, often leaving much rice to stand unreaped. This rice, the colonist writes, is not for them but for the thunders, they say. Nothing will compel them to continue, therefore much goes to waste. Kimmerer continues that the settlers took this as certain evidence of laziness and lack of industry on the part of the heathens, which is, of course, the colonial mindset, the origin of the doctrine of conquest and the justification for genocide and land theft. Kimmerer continues, they did not understand how indigenous land care practices might contribute to the wealth they encountered. She continues, I once met an engineering student visiting from Europe who told me excitedly about going ricing in Minnesota with his friend's Ojibwe family. He was eager to experience a bit of Native American culture. They were on the lake by dawn, and all day long they pulled through rice beds, knocking the ripe seed into the canoe. It didn't take long to collect quite a bit, he reported, but it's not very efficient. At least half the rice just falls in the water, and they didn't seem to care. It's wasted. As a gesture of thanks to his hosts, a traditional ricing family, this European student offered to design a grain capture system that could be attached to the gunwales of their canoes. He sketched it out for them, showing how his technique could get 85% more rice. His hosts listened respectfully, then said, yes, we could get more that way, but it's got to seed itself for next year. And what we leave behind is not wasted. Do you think the ducks would stop here if we took it all? Our teachings tell us to never take more than half. What is the cost of efficiency? And could it be some part of our souls? Certainly our relationship to the regenerative cycles of the earth, where one creature's waste is another's feast or breath, where nothing is wasted? Do we lose our depth of connection to one another? Do we drive away sacred time in our hurry to produce? From those early colonists forward, the pursuit of efficiency as justification for the act of extraction became American religion. It continued in the enslavement of vast populations of kidnapped Africans as a cost-effective strategy to grow the sugar and cotton industries. It continued and grew exponentially through industrialization as all human labor was maximized and alienated from every breathing human person. The idea that we could extract people's labor by making human bodies more efficient proliferated into every sphere and threw the door open to further evils: eugenics, the privatization and corporatization of absolutely everything, the disposability of any who could not or would not produce, the outright murder of disabled individuals. It started with those first colonizers, it continued with the slavers, and it continues unto this day. Efficiency has always been a concept of empire, a deadly state religion. And even before there was the Department of Government Efficiency, the concept had slipped in on the coattails of good business practice and self-improvement into every part of our contemporary lives. The agents of power sell it to us as effectiveness while using it to extract our labor and our attention and hoard the profits. Nurses caring for sick people are now they're now timed to limit how many minutes they spend per patient. So they can be pressured to see more patients, so the hospitals can pay fewer nurses, so the health insurance shareholders can hoard away more profit, all while they call it efficiency. Teachers are assessed by standardized tests rather than love of learning in their charges. Churches and nonprofits are encouraged to cut overhead, which is another world for people's livelihoods. Progressive organizers are paid by the door to talk with voters as quickly as they can to squeeze out the data their funders think they need. And you are probably told several times every day about how you could better use your time to maximize your skills or organize your home or monetize your attention or your art. There is no escaping the invitation to empire's efficient extraction, creeping as it does into every place and every hour. Every hour. Every hour of your precious time on this earth, which of course you want to live well and suck the marrow from and glory in, which of course you deserve meaning from, every hour. And yes, of course it is limited, our time. Your time is limited. Elon, your time is limited. And when you rush to hoard it away and fill it up, it slips through your fingers even faster, doesn't it? Don't you know how much more slowly time moves for dancing animals? Don't you know that our panic to fill it up siphons off the meaning from it all and makes it more scarce? Don't you know that limits themselves are not scarcity? They are if we will let them be the source of meaning itself. They are if we will live into them sacred. Because we do not have forever, because we cannot have everything, Elon, we dance more joyfully now. We connect more deeply here. We notice the babies and pet the dogs and wave to the fire engines and lie in the grass, staring up at the way the sun filters through the leaves, gobsmacked by the entirely purposeless and sparkling beauty of it all. It is because we do not have forever with those we love and cannot have everything with those we love that we sit at the deathbed, that we meander with the child, that we care tenderly for the body, that we witness the meaning of every life, no matter how long or short, no matter what is produced from it. The rice that falls into the water to reseed itself, and the time that stretches out in creativity or joy or just living. None of it is ever wasted. All of it is holy. The deep, long, wasteful time it takes to build true community, care for children, care for elders, care for anyone. It is not efficient, but it is why we are here. It is not efficient, it is holy. So perhaps as those Doge emails keep rolling out, perhaps you would like to send me this week, handwritten slowly, with little doodles in all the corners, a story of your wasted time and how reckless, abundant love moved through it. Tell me half a thing you did. Tell me nothing you produced. Tell me who you loved. Tell me if you danced. And let us sing. Hymn number 311 is Let It Be a Dance in your gray hymnal. Let's be dancing animals. I invite you to rise or remain seated as you are most comfortable, to move your body if you feel so moved, to take whatever pace you want, although it'll go best if you follow Sam.